Hi.
Okay. Alright, so you want a human spider figure, but you don't want to pay over $100 for these pieces of shit. Well, don't worry. You're huge. Fuck. Well, don't worry. Your simply neighborhood Spider-Man is here to help you. Okay. So, here's what you're gonna need. Go to eBay. Find a 2002 Tobey Maguire Peter Parker figure for as cheap as you can. The one where he's going like this. Also, find a Daredevil figure from the Spider-Man Classics line for as cheap as you can. Theoretically, you could do this with any figure. I'm just choosing to do this because it'll fit better with the Tobey Maguire head that we're using. Next thing, you will need scissors, preferably fabric scissors. With regular scissors will get the job done. Fucking what else do we need? Next thing you will need, a printer and a computer, because you're gonna need to print out these two pictures later on in the video. Next thing, needle nose pliers and an X-Acto knife. You'll want to be very careful when using these tools, as you want to be safe anytime you're using tools, especially knives and stuff. Yeah, so I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but I'm putting it in the video anyway. Okay. Last two things. You're going to need red acrylic paint and a fine tip brush. If you don't have a fine tip brush, the tip of a toothpick will work. I've done web lines on a couple Tobey figures with just a toothpick before, and it comes out just fine. And you're going to need paper, pencil, and a Sharpie. And optionally, this is completely optional, but if you want, buy some oven baked clay or air dry clay to sculpt the Nike logos on Peter's shoes to give it that extra detail, but if not, that's totally optional. It's not a big deal. Okay, step one, boil some water so you can put your Tobey and your Daredevil figure in there and let them boil for about 5 minutes. Once that's done, pull them out, remove both of their heads and both of their feet. Be careful when you're doing this. Make sure you're not forcing anything. Make sure it's actually pliable and the plastic is melted enough that you can take it out easily without feeling like you're gonna break anything. Once you have Tobey's head off the figure, you can chunk that motherfucker in the trash. You don't need it. We're just taking the head and the feet from that figure anyway. Using your needle nose pliers and your X-Acto knife, you're gonna wanna twist and pull that gray peg out of Tobey's head and kind of bore it out, cut it out. Make enough space for that ball joint that's on the body to sit snugly and at the right height of the figure so it doesn't look like he's got a cone head looking ass. Step 3, you're gonna stencil out your shirt, mask, and pants for this figure with that piece of paper I told you about. Grab your pencil and paper, put the figure on there, do a rough stencil around the pants, shirt, and mask. And when you're doing the mask, make sure to give about double the amount of measurement space, because you're going to want to pull it down and have a little bit of bagginess around the neck so it actually looks accurate to how he does in the movie. Step 4, cut out fabric with the stencil that you just made and get about 1/4 of an inch around the stencil when you're stenciling around it onto the fabric. This will help give the baggy effect. Step 5, you're going to want to go to your computer and print out those two pictures I showed you earlier. I'm going to put a link to those pictures in the description. Step 6, you're going to want to use your fabric glue and lightly, and I mean very lightly, put a light layer of that glue on each of the printouts that you just made and firmly press that onto the front and back respectively. You're going to want to put a weight on top of there and leave it for about 12 to 24 hours. That's how long I usually wait. Some people might wait less time, some people might wait more. That's just the best results that I've been able to get with that time frame. Step 6. Okay, so now we're at the sewing phase or the gluing phase, depending on what you're using. This is going to be the more time-consuming part if you're sewing by hand. You're going to want to start sewing and make sure you're not sewing where there doesn't need to be a seam line, and giving you enough space with the fabric to not show any thread show, to not have any thread show. When you're using the gluing technique, make sure you go around that outline and give yourself enough space so you don't have any glue stains and you don't have any issues later on when you turn it inside out. Step 7. Okay, so you have the figure clothes sewn / glued together and they are now on your figure. It's looking pretty good, right? You liking what you got so far? Hope so. Step 7. You're going to want to paint your details with that red acrylic paint that I was telling you about with that fine tip brush or toothpick. He has 2 skinny stripes going down the side of the legs on his sweatpants. So you're going to want to mimic that and go very slowly. Make sure you're stretching the fabric so you can get an accurate paint application on the fabric. And you're going to want to do this and go over it about 2, maybe even 3 times depending on the fabric that you're using. Last step, give yourself a big pat on the back. Seriously guys, no, good job, you've done it. You've made yourself a human spider figure and you didn't have to pay a gajillion dollars for an unarticulated piece of shit. Yeah, so good job, thank you for watching. I'll have more videos, figure custom videos out soon. I'll also be working on some suit/costume videos, maybe a couple of tutorials on the masks. I know I want to do a tutorial on how I did this cane mask, and I'll also have that tier list video up here soon on the Spider-Man 3 toys. So just be on the lookout. I really appreciate you watching, and peace.